Welcome to my next video for D&D. In this video, we're going to be looking at artwork in particular. Now, this artwork comes from the page dividers for 2nd edition D&D Monstrous Compendiums. And it doesn't really matter where they come from, but I've got a big collection right here I'm going to show you. And it's going to cover a wide range of D&D monsters, D&D characters, D&D settings. Now, a lot of these pictures are showing a particular setting, time, and particular characters in D&D. And I'm not aware of all of it because the D&D universe is so big, but I'm going to tell you what I know about each picture, and we'll go from there. So, without further ado, in this first picture, we see what are called drow, or dark elves. And these are elves that used to live on the surface, and they had problems with their neighbor elves, and eventually it drove them to war, and through the war, they were driven under the ground, where they lived, and they are corrupted by the darkness, and they turn out to be evil people who worship a spider god. Well, not even really a god, but she's a demon. And you can see an emblem that she's wearing there of a spider. And that spider demon, her name is Loth. And she's a demon, and she lives in the abyss, which is where all the demon lives. So these are nasty, vile people who will backstab you over a McChicken. That's how bad they are. They'll do anything just to do it, and they have no limits, and they love inflicting pain on other people. So that's who we have here, who happen to be strikingly beautiful. Dark elves. You can see they have dark skin and white hair. That's a characteristic you always see of them. And for dark elves, it's a female-driven society. It's patriarchal. The women have all the power, and the women are in charge, essentially. And they control the groups of people, and they feud against each other and with the other races who live in the Underdark. Behind them, you see what's called a mind flayer, or the scientific name would be a lithid. These are another race who live in the Underdark. This is a race that is very alien to the other races on, I can't really say Earth because we're not really talking about Earth here, but essentially it's unearthly, and the story behind them is their race is from far in the future, and they're trapped kind of in our time frame, and they're making the best they could do. Once again, it's an evil race. They have 4 tentacles coming out their face, and they feed on brains. So, another nasty race, and they constantly are at war with these chicks here. In the back, we have what looks like 2 fire giants setting, and they look pretty stupid. That's because they are. And these big, powerful giants are often taken advantage of by the smarter races, such as the drow and the mind flayers. And whether they corrupt them through magic or through other means, they try to take advantage and use other races as their manpower, and they go out and do the dangerous stuff. So that's what I know about that picture. Next, it looks like we have some adventurers here. One of them riding a lizard. The other one looks like it has a young dragon as its familiar. I can tell you that this is a gnome right here. A gnome is like a very short version of a person. Hence the reason why I could ride on a lizard. And that's really all I could tell you about that. It looks like they're scouting out a dark castle of some sort. I bet you there's a story. I bet you there's probably a book written about why they're going there and what the story is, but I'm not familiar with these characters. If you are, leave a comment and let me know what's up. Here we have, it looks like some brutes running out of a castle across a drawbridge for whatever reason. It looks like we have a hobgoblin here, which is a bigger version of a goblin that's actually bigger than an orc. And not only are they big and strong, but they're also the smartest of the goblinoids. And they're often seen leading war parties and taking control of other weaker creatures and using them in their armies. And beside them, it looks like we have two giants. One of them picking up these guys because it looks like they're not too excited to go out there. I'm not quite sure what these are, if they want to be ogres or what. And the interesting thing about that is through D&D and the different editions, the artwork changes. So you get different variations. So I can't quite tell you what all these things are, but I know that's a hobgoblin. These two look like fire giants or giants of some sort, and these one, I guess they're young giants or ogres or something. But it's kind of a chaotic picture showing the different emotions of the monsters. Here we have what looks like a heroic fighter riding a hippogriff. And in the back, it looks like some kind of dark magic's going on. I don't think that's actually a dragon, but I think that's see, get my laser. I think that's a statue or something like that. Here is a dark picture that's actually faced the other way, so let me flip it around here. Let's turn my light brighter here. It's a dark picture. I think it's supposed to be dark. Oh. No, it's too bright. That's good enough. But you see what looks like some kind of demon jumping down from a dark castle. So if you're approaching a dark castle like this and it's a stormy night, you always want to be careful for demons jumping down. Here we have, looks like some undead kings of some sort. They're not liches. They look like regular skeletons to me, besides what they're wearing. But I'm sure this has some kind of story behind it of who these dark lords are. But it kind of shows you some of the villains you might encounter in Dungeons and Dragons. Here we have a picture of an evil warrior riding on top of a dragon. Looks like they're attacking a castle. And you have an opposing soldier on foot bracing himself from the attack. I could tell this guy's evil because his face mask, the way the horns come up, the way the eyes are placed. And I want to say this is a blue dragon. And like I said before, throughout the editions, the monsters change and the dragons change. I could identify a blue dragon for sure in the newer editions, but back then things were a little bit different. But I think that's a blue dragon, and that would make it an evil dragon, which would make sense with the evil rider. This right here is interesting. This is for the Dark Sun D&D campaign, and the Dark Sun was kind of like a post-apocalyptic feel. There wasn't too much magic going on, and all the magic was controlled by the ruling people, and they kept a strong oppression upon all the people of the land. So this is a setting where survival of the fittest is really the main focus. There's gladiator pits all over. It's really a brutal place. And here it looks like you have a champion leading his tribe of people. Looks like they're about to go to combat. And of course it's called Dark Sun, and in the background you can see a big dark sun. Very fitting. More artwork for Dark Sun. You can see, looks like, I don't know if that's a sun or you got moons going on there or something, but you can see not human. Not sure what race this thing is. If it is human, it's pretty deranged. But this is the kind of thing you can encounter walking around in the desert. Quick note here. You can see the author, Brom. You can see in the bottom left right here. BROM. he worked early on in Dungeons and Dragons, and he laid the foundation for a lot of this artwork, especially in Dark Sun. Once again, we have a Dark Sun artwork, and it looks like we have some barbarians or hill people investigating some kind of intruder. And interestingly enough, you can see an alien creature back here. I don't know if it's a slave or captive, but I don't think they're on friendly relationships with the humans, so I'm assuming it's a slave. And here you see the Dark Sun orcs. They're pretty similar to the humans, where they're very muscular, very angry, but it's an orc, so it's going to be even more angry. Alright, back to more of a high fantasy setting. We have a knight on his horse, but it looks like they've both been dead for quite a while. It actually looks not even like complete skeletons. It looks like they're both missing their neck. Interestingly enough, you don't see a neck there. You don't see a neck there, but you do see a rib cage of the horse. Otherwise, I would say all I could see is the skeletons. It looks like a Crusader cross almost. So it's probably a sad story behind this guy who died and became the victim of some kind of dark magic. Here you see Michael Jackson in Thriller. Alright, here we have probably one of my favorite artworks. Pretty self-explanatory. It looked like this gentleman got hit with an arrow, and that was the cause of death. And he leaned up against his tree. But at the same time, it looks like a beautiful scene, because after that, a unicorn decided to come by, and you can see the sun coming through the trees. Beautiful picture. Here we have another evil dragon rider. That mask is pretty similar to the first one that we saw on the blue dragon. This is obviously a red dragon, and we can see him breathing fire. And it looks like he's attacking, I want to say, a bronze dragon, a good dragon. So, this is for Dragonlance, the Dragonlance campaign, and the evil dragons, the chromatic dragons, are at war with the good people, and the good dragons, the metallic dragons, have allied with the good people in an attempt to fight off the evil. Here's some more Dragonlance artwork. A friend of mine actually told me the story behind this guy and what he's doing here. He looks human to me. Well, actually, he looks like an elf. You can see his pointed ears right here. It looks like an elf, but obviously made some bad choices in life. That's why he's in the spot. And I think he's using the orb to scry, I think it's called. A couple words I've learned through D&D. This one is spelled S-C-R-Y, scrying, I want to say. I don't know if you know that word, but that's like using a magic item to see somewhere else. So he's using this globe, this orb, to see somewhere else in the world, and what he doesn't see is this dragon creeping up on him. More Dragonlance artwork where I'm not quite sure the characters, but I know they are characters and they're written about in novels. But you can see this lady is under attack by dead things sticking their hand out to the ground, and it looks like he has some kind of evil character watching from the distance, or actually just from the side apparently. and I'm sure he has a part to play in this. Here's a really dramatic picture of a ship getting sucked into some kind of whirlpool, going to some kind of evil city, it looks like, with the dragon approaching. Really probably not a good place to be on that ship, especially because their mast looks like it's cracked. And of course you can see all the demons and the faces in the water here, so that's not going to be a good fall. Looks like a classic showdown in Dungeons and Dragons, where we have the good character here confronting some kind of evil caster, but of course the evil caster is not without his bodyguard here, who he's pointing to sick this guy. So hopefully that magic staff he's holding does something pretty powerful, because he got a pretty decent fight on his hands. Alright, now we're getting into the Oriental Adventure campaign, and you can see here it looks like a samurai warrior is fighting some demons. This is mainly taken from a feudal Japan standpoint for the Oriental Adventures, but also takes influences from China. Here we have what looks like a samurai fighting a ninja. They introduced a lot of cool weapons, a lot of Oriental weapons at this point, including this one right here. It looks like a blade, the chain with a ball and hook on the other side of it. And this monster right here, I want to say it comes from, well, I'm going to guess Japanese mythology. Another samurai fighting demons. I always thought it stuck out, the sandals he's wearing in this picture. I can never imagine fighting in sandals like that, but I guess they did. Here's the last picture for Oriental Adventures. Not really sure what's going on with the spider there. And there's definitely a guy on top of it. Now this is a really good example of great D&D artwork, because it shows so much emotion and so much happening in a single picture. And it looks here like this adventuring party got ganked by some kind of giant, I want to say. But I'm really not sure what that thing is. It's very ugly, I know that. And this guy looks like he's going to have a bad time. But hopefully his friends could do something about that. Oh, for the very first time, I just noticed right now, if you look down here, this guy's taking a fall. I've never seen that guy before. This picture right here happens to be the cover for the Rules Encyclopedia. Just a random fact. And it looks like some kind of sea monster or something. I don't think it's a dragon, because you see it has a really long neck, and we don't see any other part of the dragon, or monster rather, because I don't think it's a dragon. But whatever it is, this horse, and definitely the rider of the horse, want very little to do with it, so they're on the run here. Yeah, definitely be careful where you're going, and be careful what tombs you're trying to rob, because you might run into something like this if you try to make some easy money in the wrong place. these guys look very ill prepared for what's coming after them. So oh yeah, this is a great one. So here you have, looks like Neanderthal-like people who made a howdah on back of a woolly mammoth, complete with war paint over its fur somehow. Very interesting. And they're going to war. They're throwing their spears, shooting bows. And it looks like we have the white guys down here. They're not really sure what they're going at. This chick looks like she's about to make a run for it. It looks like some kind of monkey or something on the back there. You guys see that really small? Let me get the laser off of it, but hold on. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that thing's head looks too big for a human baby, but I guess it's supposed to be a human baby. But it looks like maybe they kidnapped some other creature and they're running off with it. And then you got a saber-toothed tiger coming in from the side. So it's probably a bad day for these guys. I would like to be up here, but I also wouldn't want to be a Neanderthal, so I don't know where I want to be in this picture. Oh, awesome. So now we're getting the Spelljammer. Spelljammer essentially is D&D in space. Now, it's not space as we know it. It's a little bit different. Well, it's actually a lot different in the way it works and the rules and the physics and the reality of space is completely different. And I don't want to get too much into that, but here you see a ship that's shaped like a nautilus. And these ships are used by the mind flayers, which I showed you in the first picture, but we can go to that. Back to that. So these guys fly around in these ships. And then coming in on the attack, you see what looks to be like elven ships right here. So it looks like they're flying out from this planet to intercept this nautilus. Oh. Hopefully we have more Spelljammer here. Let's see. Oh, I'll get show you this really quick. This is a monstrous compendium which these come with, and you see they just have listings of different monsters, or in this case it's a plant. But it gives the game statistics for it and then describes it. But anyways, let's try to find more Spelljammer pictures. There we go. So here in the background we see another kind of ship. I want to say this one's called the Elven Man o' War. But in front of that, we see these three characters on an asteroid. We have a mind flayer right here, a human warrior, and a lady with a crossbow. So you can see they're not wearing spacesuits because you don't need spacesuits to be in D&D space. This right here has to be one of my favorite pictures that we've looked at so far. And you can see a beholder, some kind of space beholder, searching for this lovely lady who is hiding in an asteroid field with her knife in hand. And I think she knows she's about to be found out because you see the eyes looking towards her direction. So I really like this picture, and I wish I knew where it came from, and I wish I could tell you what happened. But I've actually read all 6 novels based on the Spelljammer setting, and I can assure you that this picture is not in any of it. It's not mentioned in the novels I've read, at least, which is all the novels, but there's still definitely a lot more content for Spelljammer that I'm not aware of. Here we can see a really good picture of a mind flayer. who looks like he's been bested by this human here with a really fancy sword, fancy everything really. Looks like he's got a lot of treasure. Looks like he's fixing to take away this amulet or whatever this is from the Mind Flayer, who does not look happy about his current situation. And you can see his teeth right there. Nasty creature. In the background you see a beautiful galaxy. And then what looks like the gentleman's ship. More artwork by Brahm. See once again the BROM tag on the picture. And this looks like a skeleton crew of zombies or skeleton or something took over this hammerhead ship. Now it's a hammerhead ship because it looks like a hammerhead. You see right here. And on the back you can see a catapult. Now, some spell jamming ships are able to land in the water. And you can see this one is essentially a galleon. And it can work in the water, but you can see by some kind of magical means it's now taking off into space. This is kind of a debris field. Looks like a destroyed ship and different ship parts floating in space. This is showing a dragon ship. It looks like it just destroyed some other kind of ship. It's got something in its claws here. It has two different decks, one on bottom, one on top. I never read too much about this kind of ship in my novel. Not much at all, actually. I don't think they ever mentioned, but I'd be curious to know more about this ship myself. Looks like Brahm did this one too. You can see his tag right there. Alright, looks like we got 4 more. Might as well finish it out. Ravenloft is your vampire setting for Dungeons and Dragons. It's what's the word for it? Your generic horror setting. So vampires, zombies, skeletons, and the drama and romance that comes along with it. And hopefully I could show you what I'm talking about with these pictures coming up here. That would be good. Oh, we already talked about that picture. Oh no, we already talked about all these pictures. We already went over these ones. Yep, there's MJ again. I think this picture would describe the setting the most, the Ravenloft setting the most. But it looks like I'll have to go into that a different day because these pictures aren't quite what I expected to be able to talk about Ravenloft. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, taking a look at some artwork. There's plenty more artwork I have in books, and I even have more of these pages that I haven't showed you that are in a different binder. But I hope you enjoyed it, and artwork's a big part of D&D, and if anyone wants to understand D&D, they have to take a look at the artwork. And have a great day.